Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I am here with the beautiful Nancy Valentine Smith this morning, and she's kindly carved out some time in her busy schedule for us just to have a bit of a chat about things that are going on, the energies at the moment. We're starting to come out of COVID. We've just had a little chat about that, and we're in this funny limbo stage, but we also have this renewal energy coming through. So thank you, Nancy, for joining me.
Hi, Libby. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me, Libby.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime, Nancy, anytime. So I'm going to make sure we're live on Facebook, and I will tag Kath Thompson in here because I know that she particularly had this question about, we're heading into Mercury retrograde. So we have Mercury retrogrades multiple times a year, and it's a time of slowing down. And poor Mercury gets blamed a lot for things going wrong and technology not working. And there's a lot of kind of negative said about poor old Mercury. But it is a time where things slow down. We need to be more concise with our communication and things like that. So we're just wondering, we've got eclipses, we've got the new moon coming. Like, what can we do to kind of maximize this time at the moment?
Go and hide in a cave.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Look, cave woman.
It's generally such a massive time, and with these celestial astrological happenings, it just adds to what is going on that very big picture of what we call this ascension time. So we are getting extra hits than usual compared to other times when different planets go retrograde, or the different, what do you call, influences. Mercury retrograde is actually a really can be a really beautiful time if we're able to connect to completing unfinished business on a very practical level, clearing out your papers, rearranging your office. So during the Mercury retrograde, for the first few days, 4 days, I like the number 3 and 4 because they're a good energetic number to activate or deactivate. When you have the number 3 or 4, it's like it becomes a vessel, and it has its frequency, its own frequency. So the first 3 to 4 days when the retrograde starts, Mercury retrograde starts, I'd like to clear my desk, sort out my shelves, get rid of a lot of papers. Another really good thing to do is get rid of bills, anything in paper form that you've had for a while. And so it's like using the first 3-4 days to do a bit of a clearing and cleansing, a decluttering around things that's connected to your base and sacral. So that's finances, just the admin stuff, according to you. It's also a time with a Mercury retrograde. It's funny, from what I feel and sense, that it's also a good time to implement some strong physical practices. So if you want to go on a bit of a cleanse or detox, or spend a couple of days just having, a bit of a cleanse, it's a good time to do that. So for me, it's a Mercury retrograde is a time, because there's so much happening, and as you all know, you get glitches, things can go backwards. You might be waiting for a phone call, or you might be waiting for an opportunity that you felt that was coming that gets stalled, all that kind of thing. Is during this time is a time to continue to prepare and clear. So using that time, not only to clear, but as I just said, to prepare. Yeah.
Yes.
So it could be a time of going through your linen cupboard. It's like what you're doing is clearing that old energy, doing a lot of cleansing baths. So it's use that time, this time where things stand still or pause for a bit to shift, to clear.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because I don't get that pull very often to kind of get, I can work in chaos, and if my goal is to get this done, I'll go ahead and get it done. I know some people are distracted if there's things out of place around and they'll have to go and fix that cushion or whatever. I would never get anything done if that bothered me. So I try to turn a blind eye and just move on. But I've noticed just the last couple of days that I've needed to start to put things in place and get the house in order, I guess. So I wonder if it is the start of that energy starting to come through.
It is, because like I said, the effects and the influences of the planetary skyscape is impacting us more stronger because of what's happening on the bigger picture in the stars and the earth. And so this Mercury retrograde in particular is about getting your house in order on the external, internal, and it's specifically base and sacral, which is even the exercise of writing things down of what you can pay off now, or organizing that you might have to do things in installment. Those really basic, because the reason why is we're having these windows, and this is one of those windows where we can go and tidy up things to create more space of, when we come out of the Mercury retrograde, of things being activated, things coming to us, things manifesting, because we've created the space literally and energetically. It doesn't mean, also I want to point out, it doesn't mean that we have to wait till we're out of the Mercury retrograde for things to manifest. It can manifest during this time also, which is interesting, because I've always found in the past, when we do have retrogrades, there are moments where manifestation occurs because everything's still, everything's quiet. So it gives opportunity for certain things to bloom quietly. There's certain projects and certain energy that need that space, so that's why this time is important to tidy up, clear, shift, not only externally but internally, mentally too. And it shouldn't be a big effort. Also, they're saying this Mercury retrograde is a really powerful time, this one in particular, to keep a dream journal next to your bed, because a lot of dreams will come through, and in some of those dreams you will actually get messages. Okay. You'll actually get messages. What I did a session last night with a a client, and she had a dream the night before the session, and she's in the Northern Hemisphere. And she won't go into the dream, but in the dream, we're clearing some very strong aspects of her journey and her life. And we've started on a different level, okay, where we're going more deep into the core. So she had a dream where there were certain beings and characters connected to what we're shifting in her dream. And one of them said to her in particular, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be doing here, all this quite full-on dream. She said, in the dream, I turned around, I saw the clock, and it was 11 a.m. And I said to her, interesting, this is just an example of what our dreams are wanting to work with us. And I said to her, I said, you're in the dream, it's 11 a.m. And she said, yes. And I said, what time is our appointment? Our appointment. She said, 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. the Northern
for
Hemisphere.
her, and it's and it's evening for you.
It was 8 p.m. last night for me, but in the Northern. And I said to her, well, that's coming through your dream, because you're shifting and healing, that it's showing you that you are having major breakthroughs and about to really get to core, and this being in your dreams part of that core, and it's told you to get out, and you've looked at the clock. So see the connection.
The
dreams are that potent that we're entering into, all of our dreams. So it's have a journal, because if you have the journal next to you, what will happen is then an unfolding of a movie will occur. And then after you come out of this retrograde, you'll be able to see the flow or the stream of the subconscious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, amazing.
The moral of that story is have a little book next to the bed.
Yeah, no, but that's so true. That's one thing that I haven't done often enough, is record the dreams. And because sometimes I feel like I don't dream at all, but I know I probably am, and I'm just not remembering them. So somebody did say, it was recommended to me to have an intention of an answer that I would like to seek through my dream, and be very explicit before I go to sleep, and then make sure that you document that. So it's just a matter of having that intention, isn't it?
A very easy practical thing to do is in the morning when you get up and you make your bed, grab your pillow. Some of you might have one pillow, some might have two, and hit it together, bang it, or one pillow hit against the wall, move the energy out of the pillow, because that also assists in dreaming. And clearing, because you're releasing a lot in your sleep. So I always find that also assists in having really deep, good sleep, is moving the energy out of the pillow. They're really simple things, but they should really be our everyday, part of our everyday. We make the bed, so let's hit the pillow and move the energy out.
Love that. Very good.
And also another thing I do, just these are everyday housekeeping stuff, is sometimes slightly move your bed, move it a bit forward so it's not against the wall. Okay, so slightly move the bed. These all assist in your sleeping.
And is there you recommend some crystals under the bed, don't you? Have I heard you say that?
What does it mean, lady?
No. I speak to so many amazing women. Somebody said, have whether it's a rose quartz or something under the bed where you're sleeping.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, if you're going to have crystals under your bed, make sure you cleanse them. Okay, once a week. Throw the rose quartz in the shower. That's another thing that we do also in our family, is we've got a beautiful big piece of rose quartz. Not all the time, but sometimes when we inture it and feel it, it's a big piece. You can do it with big pieces or little pieces. We put it on the shower, in the shower. And so when the water's coming down, it's coming over the crystal and the energy with the steam of the warm water, hot water. So we're having a cleanse in a space of the literally liquid rose quartz.
Yes.
Yeah,
wow.
So rose quartz is good for that. Also amethyst. Amethyst and rose quartz in the shower, they're very playful. I have to sometimes go, shh, settle down. And then I trip and stub my toe. But amethyst and rose quartz in the shower is good, and it also cleanses your field. You know, when you have your shower, it cleanses your field. So, you know,
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's really wonderful because you do feel great, and it's great if you have children, because it cleanses them. You know, it cleanses them and that energy, and you know, you're in the shower and sometimes you feel like you're in a beautiful lagoon, waterfalls and these crystals, and
amazing.
And the hot water runs out, and Iceland, and then so that's a really good one to keep your energy clear effortlessly.
I love that. I know one question I wanted to ask. I would love to hear your perception on this. There's so much talk about 5G right now, and you know, I guess it's a more intense frequency of our electromagnetic fields and phone signals and all of the rest. What's your guidance on how it will affect us? Will it affect us? Is there anything we can do to kind of minimize the effects on our body or our energy field?
Oh, that is such a big question, because there's so many levels to that. And for me personally, I haven't really tuned into that or gone there. I mean, Nancy, the everyday mum, partner aspect of me, when I first heard, I think we have a 5G tower here or set up or whatever it is in town here, totally freaked out because I went into fear, because I was diagnosed with leukemia years ago and was massive, in hospital, intensive care, the journey of that. So when I heard that was happening, I remember ringing friends up and other friends of mine who were seers, really upset, because it was like, oh my God, that's going to really affect me because of my medical history and because I'm so sensitive. And then another time I just went, oh my God, it's just everywhere on the planet. So even if I wanted to pack up my family and moved back to Sydney or anywhere else, it's in Sydney.
Yes.
So the only place I could think of is this really small island in Fiji where these bays where my family's from. And then then I saw this image of the 5G arriving.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Look, Libby, to be honest, I'm still sitting and feeling and learning. I think there's so much happening on this planet that's interconnected. I feel that we personally and collectively have to step into our power. So that whatever is being created and manifested, we can no longer not be a part of it.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the 5Gs, it's the minings in places like the Amazon, in the Piranjara country. It's all this. It's all the same thing. We are affected, you know, and different things on the planet are occurring because we've been separated from the collective unified consciousness, you know, of us being, putting it really simply, brothers and sisters on this journey.
Yeah.
And so the 5G on that very big picture is another thing that is occurring on this planet to trigger and activate us to raise our voices and raise our hearts. Because if one being or small group of people can change the course of history, imagine the collective. We can change it literally in 24 hours if the collective aligned to certain principles that have been left for us as guides from certain teachers like Yeshua, like Buddha, Babaji, so many great beings, known and unknown, that have walked this planet before and have done incredible work on themselves, and that's what we call initiation, done incredible work on themselves to hold such big light. For ages, through the history of theology, spirituality, they've always spoken about a second coming. So in Christianity, they speak about the second coming. I know without the doubt that the second coming is us. Is us stepping into an awakening that we are the Christed ones, that we are the mystic. Okay? Does that mean you stop being a mum or a wife? No. What that means is that we have acquired enough soul knowledge in our journey timelines to be at this point to merge the two. And some of us are awakening now and might be going, oh, I'm not spiritual enough. I have to learn all of this. I have to do all of this. And that's too much, or that's too advanced. You have to remember that your true authentic self is that you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. That whether this is the first time you're hearing this or not, that the truth is that you are an immortal being that is spirit. Yep. Your physical body, your physical reality here as mum, as wife, as sister and brother and so on is a small experience of an expression of your spirit.
Yeah.
But this experience you're having in the physical form is being called at this time to ascend, which means to move forward.
Oh, I've lost that.
Your spirit. So your spirit, which is the higher aspect, the all-knowing, connected to source, is wanting to merge with you so it can start co-creating. That's what we mean by co-creating. It can co-create with you in your physical form. So you're not there, just sitting there praying to Archangel Michael, praying to the angels, praying to the archangels, praying to the ascended masters, talking here, because that is you, and that's your spirit. Angels, archangels, we're going a bit ahead, but it's okay, because I believe that you all have an understanding. These are high aspects of you. So the journey of connecting with that bigger picture of yourself is what we're in. So the 5G situation, the Black Lives Matter situation, refugees, fires, floods, and even the locusts, they're out and about in Africa and India. It's just like, I'm sure I read that in some book that I scribbled on when I was at a Catholic girls' school. Anyway, so all this has been written, as we're saying, and the simple message is that we're living in a time where the old structures will come down. So we are moving. We have no choice. I'm sorry, everybody. Yeah. We're all going to be moving. We're moving into a higher consciousness, a higher embodiment. Every single person, you, me, our beloved brother and sister fleeing Syria, our beloved brother and sister panic and in their pain in LA. Okay, whether you're black, whether you're white, we're all being activated to awaken. The stories are all different because that's the 3D. But on a bigger picture, we are, in a way, scrambling to get home. So the 5G in particular is a manifestation and of us in our disempowerment. So that's there. But if we look at history, it's like it's energy, and it is full on, and it is, I don't know much scientifically, so I can't give my expert opinion, but I know that if I keep working on myself and fine-tuning and clearing my unfinished business, sorting out what I call the false testaments in my being, how I think, how I perceive, then no matter what is around me, that the law of energy is, it cannot harm me because I am not frequency specific to it.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Easy said than done. That's why we keep saying, work and clear your stuff. People say to me, well, what is my stuff? The stuff that keeps you in separation and fear. And then, thank you. And then the relations of separation and fear are judgment. Yeah. So those are really simple. If I'm in judgment of anyone and triggered, then I know I've dropped into fear. Because judgment is the fear of not having enough.
Yes.
Actually, it's all the fear of not having enough, not being seen, or being left behind.
Not being loved, yep. Yeah. Being abandoned, yep.
Yeah, they're all the same thing. Not being seen, not being left behind, not having enough. And all fear comes from our base and sacral, because fear is historically tied up to survival. Yeah. Survival. That's what we have within us. Yeah. Is delivering persons here now. That's all right. The whole survival thing is what keeps us living under the 5G. Okay? On the bigger picture. That's why 5G exists. That's why those mining companies can come in and go, I don't give a shit. Yeah, well, we've signed a document saying we will consult these ancient people of this country, but I don't give a shit. So do you understand? Because we've been so busy living from a life of fear. I've got to make this money. I've got to make sure my children's education. There's no judgment. We're just pointing out a fact. And then this has happened. And you know what? 2020 arrives. So there's a bit of inkling. Thank you. There's been a bit of inkling for the last couple of years. Wake up, people. Wake up, people. The refugees, wake up, people. Can't you feel in your heart when you see a fellow brother and a fellow sister with their babies running? Don't turn away. This is happening.
Yeah.
Okay, wake up. And wake up could be to clear your stuff, to feel, to whatever. We're all different in our waking up process. And then other things came along. The nature went, hey, I can't wait. I got to clear some shit from from Mother Soil, because she wants to move forward. She's been there and she's going, hey, my little bubbers, I can't wait for you. I can't wait, because my brothers and sisters in the stars are calling me. And they're actually yelling at me. Okay? They're yelling. That's all the planet stuff. Okay? Astrological. Come on, Gaia. Come on, little one. We're waiting for you. Okay, so she has to release, to move in the frequency and the vibration. Release the Old Testaments, the false testament from the soil of separation, of enslavement, of bloodshed, all of it. Fire, floods. Yeah. Wake up, people. And then 2020 hits. It's like, okay, pow. And this is where we are. So, going back to the original question, 5G is part of this book. Yeah. So, it's build your spiritual immune system. So that no matter what is thrown at us on the external, literally physically or energetically, we are able to move through it with a determination of the high spiritual beings that we are, arriving in our physical. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I heard somebody referring to it the other day, and they were saying, it's not, it won't affect our spiritual vibration, our energetic vibration at the soul level, but it will have an impact on the cells of our physical body,
Absolutely.
And I wonder if there's so many ways that we've been controlled as a humanity. Is this another attempt at that? And
Absolutely.
It's also a gift and an opportunity for us to realize that we can evolve, we can shift beyond it and out of that control. So it's almost like
stepping into your power. Of course, it's going to affect ourselves. It's going to affect ourselves out there, but like I said before, we can change things. If every single person on the planet that's not part of that 1% controlling factor that's on the planet, like it's pretty much 90 to 98, 99% of people that are still in disempowerment or mentally enslaved consciousness, is if even 45% on the planet shifted, that would literally bring the towers down. Okay? If one being, and we know, and I mention his name because he's well known in history. If one being, which is Yeshua, or known in Western terms, Jesus, was able to shift and change the consciousness. That was one being. So all of us together doing the work to clear. And we're all on different levels. It doesn't mean one's better or the other. It's just, it's perfect. Like I've always been taught that when you do the work on yourself, yes, you're doing it for you, but you're clearing your genetics, you're clearing your lineage, and you're also creating a new pathway for your descendant. So my daughters, my future grandkids, and the next 7 generations after me, whether you have kids or not. So don't think you can get away with it if you don't have kids, because you have genetics, you have nieces, you have nephews, and you might not have kids, but you might be the one in the family that's aware and awakening. Yes. So then you're the one that's impacting your genetics before and to come. Okay, whether you have children or not. So this is the nature of this time. It's waking up and seeing, and even seeing the planet from a perspective of expansion and energy. That's what it is. And everyone will see it differently. Like some people on this platform are starting their journey. Yeah. But them starting their journey, you starting your journey, and the spiritual stuff that you are connecting with that resonates with you is a very powerful activation that is assisting those towers coming down. You know, I've said this before, I'm very passionate about justice and social issues. But at this time on my journey, and I was very involved when I was younger in different political groups, but this time on my journey, I am more potent and more effective as a medicine woman to assist. Yeah. So it's when you clear your stuff, you get to know yourself more, because you become, you get to be at peace, and you move, you flow with your truth.
Yeah.
And this is one thing I'm teaching my daughters, especially my youngest daughter at the moment, because there's a lot of young people, no matter who you are, they're feeling, those in their teens are feeling these times and wanting to do stuff. So we have to go, yes, do it if you're calling, passionate, but really be clear that you're doing it from a place of inspiration rather than from a fad, rather than from ego. And that applies to us too, but in adult version.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the 5G is part of that old consciousness of control, like the like Big Brother. That really 5G is the continuation of what's been already on the planet.
Yeah.
It's just 5G is the thing that is going to raise the collective voice. So that's the positive of it. The positive, we have these negatives that are there that trigger for the collective to go enough. Enough of our brothers and sisters of color in the Northern Hemisphere, our Indigenous people having a life and not being recognized. So these things that occur have a purpose. And then you have individual players. I'm just using this as an example, as George Floyd, who as a soul has agreed to be that catalyst and that key.
Yes, I was wondering if it was a soul consciousness group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so to me, I can get into where his soul came from, but that's another story. It's like Judas. When Judas betrayed Yeshua, he needed to do that so we could have the resurrection. So we are in a time where we call this the time of getting off the cross. Okay, we are being in crucifixion. It is time to move into ascension, resurrection. That's another analogy. So what we're all witnessing, what we're seeing on the planet, is exactly what's going on. We are moving into it, and that's another story, because then we talk about the next levels, but that's another story.
Yes, story for another day.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. If anybody watching has a question for Nancy, please let us know. And maybe another story for another day. I'd love to hear your insights on the cabal or the elite who's been pulling the strings behind the scenes.
I like that story.
Do you? Do you? Can you share just one?
Just one. Well, I can share. Well, as you know, Libby, I've done the France trip. So I've gone to France.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, of course.
France trip.
I thought you said a frown strip. I was like,
the France trip.
Yes. Yes.
The France trip started with 2015. We did a trip in 2015, 2018, and last year. Now, that trip was specifically, I call them assignments. So I received the download in 2014 from Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene just basically said, hey, you need to go to France. I went, oh, what? What? Took 3 months to go, no. And then, cut a long story short, said yes to the assignment. As it went on, found out there were 3 trips to be done. And that was connected to shifting and clearing the stuff around what is known as the cabal, the groups, the Illuminati, that frequency and vibration. That is a very strong controlling aspect on this planet, and that is tied into what I've been talking about just before. Okay, so there's a lot of dismantling. There are many realities that are occurring. So in those trips to France, the first trip was we went to, all the France trip have been directed by Mary Magdalene. She would say, we would put out the call in March, but around December before that March, she would say, I would sit down, go into conference with her, and she would say, I would put out a map of France, and then she would say, there, that is the next trip. So the first trip she went there, and I went, really? Like, what about here? My friends just laughed, going, I can't believe you don't listen to us. Like, hello. It's like,
yeah.
And she would go there, and then I would totally ignore her for a month. I would look for places everywhere but there.
And she's going,
yeah. Well, that was part of my journey.
Yeah.
Of resistance.
Yes.
Okay. And then we'd go there. So the first trip, for example, was in Brittany, in the north of France. I was like, Mary, I want to go to the south. I want to go to your grotto. I want to hang out in Ronze-la-Chateau. I want to go all through the mountains of France. She's like, no, go here. Brittany, Normandy, you know. And so we got there, and I was always constantly surprised at the places she directed us to go. We would go to these places, and she would take us to specific places in the places where there were portals and doorways, and we would start clearing the energy that had been grounded in there from the cabal, the Illuminatis, from branches of that were part of the suppression, first trip, the suppression of the feminine.
Right.
So France in particular, there's a reason why we went to France, because of it energetically. Okay, energetically, and France itself as a portal. Okay, and it's historical. There were hysterical moments, but historical, the history of France energetically. So Bretagne was about moving along that energy line, because there was always many folds. And I found out later that Bretagne had many energy points connected to the Druids.
Right.
And that first trip in 2015 is when I connected strongly with what we call the dragon energies. And so from that energy line, learnt a lot in being there, saw dragons, and we had to go to certain spots. And I think from memory that was Dinan, where we cleared stuff around the burning of the witches, supposed witches, and the Inquisition. That's on that level. Second trip, it had to do with the church, the Roman Catholic Church, because she led us to go to Avignon. And Avignon was the city of popes. And had to clear there. On a bigger picture of these 3 trips, it was always the dismantling. So one of the work I do is I'm a sacred technician. So I've been taught to dismantle grids or fuse box. Okay.
Yeah.
So in each trip that occurred. And what we dismantled was the grids of the Illuminati. In modern terms, this energy has been the framework or the reality of the sex slave. Missing children, missing women, missing men in these modern times. Mind you, that's been happening for centuries. So on this bigger level, we were also dismantling and doing energy work on these grid lines. So as Mary Magdalene would say to me, because it was hard work. It was at times, and I'm not saying this lightly, at times it was treacherous. At times there was the first trip and the second trip in particular, third trip too, but different version, where it was like an episode from the Da Vinci Code, where we had, first trip, we had people just literally turn up. First trip, I was nearly knifed. Just strange things of that nature. Second trip, we were followed for a bit when we were walking around the square and around the town. So, because what happens is, as a group, we go into a different vibration, even though we're trying to look like tourists, because I'd be like, guys, we're looking like tourists. Don't bring your singing bowls.
Yes.
Can you not wear that massive pendant?
Yeah.
So, because our purpose was to go incognito energetically, to then eventually start bringing down these structures energetically in specific spots. So in Avignon, it was a portal right in the kitchen, the old kitchen. Yeah. And so I would have to go and sit there, and the group would support. So these are the things. Last year we did a trip, and Mary Magdalene said, this is the last of this assignment. This must be done before 2020.
Right.
Yeah. And this trip is, she did say this, and the group can testify to this. In next year, unfolding, Mary Magdalene said that there will be revelations of the sex slaves and children being found. We've witnessed that. You will also in 2020, what happened to Madeleine McCann will come to light.
Really?
And this was, yes, and this was part of the work we'd been doing for the last 3 trips. The last trip was very different because we were told to bunker in one place, because the place that we were staying was like a massive portal. I'm using this word lightly, but it's the best way for me to describe it. It was a massive shaft portal to the sewers, to the underground of that consciousness that's connected to the cabal, to the Illuminati, to the forces that no longer will be. Wow. So we needed to do this trip before 2020. And personally, I am really happy that it's completed, because it was full on. I'm still recovering. My physical body is still recovering.
Yeah.
But as I am blessed to witness the manifestation of the great work we've done since 2015, because Mary Magdalene was quite clear this needs to be done before 2020. During that time in France, the message to us that there was something big coming in March.
Wow.
This occurred. So, and we were always told, one, that Madeleine McCann, okay, because she was a key, like George Floyd.
Yes.
In bringing things to light.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So part of the work, when you ask about the Kabbalah and Illuminati, note the back of my hand. You know,
wow.
It will, one day I'd like to share more, and I think I will, about what it looks like, what occurred. But I hope it was a profound trip for everybody that went, because I always know that after each of those trips, and it's a while before it happens, that everyone that goes, there is a change. There is a change in their lives and their beings that has, and they will, and I hope that they will see it. She says they will see it, because it's not a light trip. It's not a light trip. It's hard to describe, and you know, and oh my God, incredible souls that came along, because you need a lot of courage, because you'll go through your stuff there and afterwards, and it's called transmuting, you know. But anyway, so
well, Alan's watching. He was on that last trip with you in France, and he says France was amazing.
He was the knight at the door.
Nice. He says there was a lot of mentions about Madeleine McCann very soon after your trip. They changed investigators on the case. So hopefully the truth does come to light with that.
It will. It will. Mary Magdalene said the last trip was profound, because the last trip for me personally, I got to see, literally, I got to see the core center of the Illuminati, that energy, you know. And like I said, like Alan, Mark, Jules, Sophie, Kata, Nicole, and Debbie, and my daughter Gracie were the perfect beings for this last assignment. Perfect, you know. But everyone that's gone before were perfect. But it was a big trip, massive trip.
Yeah. Huge
Thank
assignment.
you for letting me share that, Libby.
Oh, I'm fascinated. So thank you for sharing and being open to share that. What about when Mary Magdalene comes knocking again? Are you going to be like, I don't know?
Well, it's really funny, because I can see France in the peripheral, and I'm like, uh-oh. Look, I'm doing a trip. We're supposed to do a trip to Scotland, to the Highlands this year. That was all set. Found a beautiful place right in the Highlands, absolutely divine. So that's one thing that needs to be fulfilled, and that's connected to the waterways of the planet. And also the energy of the dragons and the locks, which are bringing, there's a massive activation that's happening in those locks. So we're going to have that next year. And then hopefully the year, well, she's saying yes. And then in 2022, France. So back to France. And then working
Will
on
you get to go to the south of France and
we did
frolic
that
and
last year.
Oh, good. Yeah,
but what happened was I didn't get to see it, because what happened was in that trip last year, I ended up having a seizure. So I'm going to write about this. These trips to France.
Far out.
All I wanted to do, I said to my partner, Mark, I said, next time I go to France, no work. Hire a car, we're going to drive around, and I am going to try every baguette in every boulangerie with cheese and baguette, and then another baguette with chocolate.
Yes.
All I'm going to do. And then if I detox enough, everybody, I'm going to wear a tight skirt and go, I'm going over here with heels. But then I had this image of my heels getting stuck on the cobblestone, tripping. Yeah.
Literally a France trip. Oh, I love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing and just, being so open. And it's important that we, give this content voice. It needs to be heard.
Thank you, Madame.
Thank you. Alan's laughing at you.
Hey?
Alan's laughing at you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Alan was incredible. He sorted something out in one of the chapels in France. He was very, So awesome. It was wonderful. Yeah, we had an interesting character that followed us, and lucky Alan was aware.
Wow.
Wow. So thank goodness.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madame. And
yes, we'll see you again soon, and you're going to be sharing more of your content and your activations in the Soul Journey membership very soon. We're heading into pre-season.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. So I think next time we connect, I'll bring through an activation on manifestation and prosperity.
Perfect. Something to look forward to for our members. Thank you so much. Sending you a big hug.
Thanks, Libby.
And sending you time and space in your schedule, because I know how busy you are.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
See you, Libby. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.